This David case is getting crazier and crazier by the minute. And as we said a couple videos ago, I told you I was on my Salon Bella. He's gonna be arrested before May. I said it, I should have said May 1st. I knew, I just had a feeling. A lot of people were surprised, but for some reason, I just had that feeling a couple months ago that it was coming very soon, pause. And we see on April 16th, he was arrested. Footages come out that show when the police went to pick him up. And not only footages, we also see pictures of outside the house, which is crazy, because if you would have asked me, there was no way in the world I would have thought that he was still in Los Angeles. I was for sure that he was somewhere in Texas, somewhere probably in the mountains of Nevada. I was thinking he was just as far away as possible from TMZ.
Look, it's gonna obscure my view from the gate. It's good?
If you try to run or if you try to resist, you will get hit with left feet, so it's gonna hurt.
I got you.
If you try to run, we have canine on premises and you will get bit.
I got you. Alright, so the gate is locked. Do I open the gate? Sir? Open the gate.
And to see that he was still staying in the Hollywood Hills is crazy. And no one saw him is even crazier. Some neighbors did report hearing, I believe, a party, but it kind of contradicted other things that I saw, because then there's other people saying, I didn't even know nobody was there. I thought the house was abandoned. Some other people said that they saw some people leaving, coming in and out, but they never saw David himself. That's what I keep hearing from all these stories. And that's just shocking and scary. Like, imagine just living in a good neighborhood in either Los Angeles, knowing that there's a wanted R&B singer, child PDF murderer, like alleged, because he has not been found guilty.
Felt like 100 police officers, a canine unit. I heard someone on the megaphone saying, surrender, surrender, come out.
The arrest comes 7 months after 14-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez was found dead in the trunk of his Tesla in a Hollywood tow yard. Then today, NBC4 Investigates obtained surveillance video that appears to show the defense attorney near the police scene minutes later. This afternoon, Blair Burke returned to the home where police arrested the singer and made no comments as she left.
The DA?
But Blair and the rest of David's legal team released a statement saying, quote, "Let us be clear, the actual evidence in this case will show that David Burke did not murder Celeste Rivas Hernandez, and he was not the cause of her death. There has been no indictment returned by any grand jury in this case and no criminal complaint filed. David has only been detained under suspicion. We will vigorously defend David's innocence."
We assumed he'd fled far away.
After the singer's arrest, neighbors in the Hollywood Hills were surprised to learn David was living nearby.
We never saw anyone like him. We never saw anyone going in or out of his house. We actually assumed no one was living there.
All of our neighbors were kind of on a group chat, and we were like, this was kind of scary that we've been living around the corner from an accused murderer.
One neighbor actually told me that he's relieved that there was an arrest because he said that there have often been parties at this home. I asked if he's heard parties here recently. He said it's an ongoing problem. Either way, on Monday, we're expected to get our first look at David as he's expected in court in person. And
when we saw his mugshot, it really just made me understand that all this is really happening, because he looked crazy in the mugshot. Shout out to Favi. I don't even want to bring him up in a video like this, but that song titled 13 Going to 30 or something like that, that's the first thing that came to mind. As soon as I saw the mugshot, I don't know why, 13 Going to 30 just hit my head like, yo, why this man used to look like an adolescent child? He looked young himself. When all this popped off, I had to find out his age, because I'm like, hold on, she was 14, 15, what was he, 16, 17? That's what I was thinking, like, oh, he's over the age or something. I didn't know what was going on. To find out he was like 20, 21, he looked very young. And now, I don't know who has a worse mugshot. We were just talking about designer last week, and now seeing David looking like That's So Raven, like he's looking into the future. crazy, terrifying. And the reason we didn't do a video ASAP on this was because we were seeing a lot of mixed feelings when he was arrested. Now, he was arrested by the LAPD, but the DA has not pressed charges on him. That was the verdict, and everyone was waiting till Monday.
The DA has had this case for 5 months. The LAPD arrests him, presumably the DA, since they've been presenting evidence to the grand jury for all this time, they're gonna file charges. Feels cart before the horse to me. Why wouldn't they just file the charges and then pick him up? They didn't even have, they could file the charges without them even becoming public and picking him up. It doesn't make sense to me why they're saying we're presenting it to the DA. DA has it.
No, you're right, Harvey. This is unusual, but you know, I've heard some criticism, but I want to take a slightly different, more optimistic viewpoint on this. And there's 2 ways a grand jury can investigate a case. One is when a prosecutor comes in and presents evidence asking for an indictment. The other is a purely investigative function. So typically the DA's office has a reactive role where the police investigate and then it winds up on somebody's desk that's had no involvement. This one's different. The LAPD really took their time on this, which I personally support. So either this is simply they're going through the motions, and they'll file it on Monday, and he's entitled to an arraignment within, I think, Monday or Tuesday, depending on the hour that they arrested him. Or there's a big rift between the LADA and the LAPD, and the LAPD is saying, screw it, we're gonna arrest him, which I really doubt under Hochman's regime. So you're right, Harvey, though, it's very interesting, but I think this thing's on its way to a filing.
According to an LAPD, high-ranking LAPD source, the ME has determined that it was a homicide and that they do have a cause of death, but they're not gonna reveal it yet. It seems to me like that was the big holdup here, right? Because how could you arrest David if you don't even know how Celeste died?
Yeah, that's another great question. And the answer is, I can't wait to get into those grand jury transcripts, guys, because the story behind this. And remember, this is his car. The decomp was heavy. But this one is almost like a no-body murder in a way, because juries really don't like to give the benefit to the criminal defendant of getting rid of the body or dismembering the body to a point or letting the body decompose to a point where it's difficult to tell the cause of death. When you got a guy who wrote a song called Romantic Homicide, and there's a whole inner circle that didn't want to talk, there's going to be a bunch of stuff coming forward. And, you know, she didn't chop herself up, guys. And remember,
I was gonna make a video and then say we'll update it Monday after the charges, but I was just so excited between knowing if he was gonna get charged by the DA and who's gonna break the ice first for the Iceman rollout that I said, let's just wait. Let's just wait till Monday. And look what happened. Monday came and we see that he was officially charged with multiple charges as well. I'm thinking they're trying to get something to stick on him. If they can't get the big one, the murder, which we're even seeing people online saying that can carry the death penalty in Los Angeles. They also hit him with a couple other. Mutilation of a body and SA of a minor.
Enough evidence here that we believe not only did he murder Celeste, but we believe that he is eligible for the death penalty. So he alleged special circumstances. He alleged special circumstances, and here is what the DA said in making that argument.
Special circumstances are lying in wait. That Celeste went to Mr. Burke's home on the night of April 23rd, 2025, as alleged in the complaint, at his invitation, and again, was not heard from again. The second is a special circumstance being that this murder was committed for financial gain. As the evidence will show in court, the financial gain was for Mr. Burke to maintain his very lucrative musical career that Celeste was threatening on that particular night.
Well, that's key, because what Nathan Hochman, the DA, is saying is that they believe that on April 23rd, 2025, David was facing a threat by Celeste to make their alleged relationship, sexual relationship, public.
Either make it public, or maybe she was threatening to go directly to police, but either way,
he was afraid it was going to ruin his career, obviously.
Right.
So what they're saying, the DA is saying, is that David basically lured Celeste to his home that night and killed her. And that he is saying that now that the medical examiner hasn't come out yet with the exact cause of death, but the DA is saying that he used a sharp object either to slash or stab her. So
That's the first time we've heard
And
the
that's
cause of death.
And that's the lying in wait special circumstance that the DA is saying, that David was waiting for her to show up at the house and he would then kill her to prevent her from going public with their sexual relationship. By the way, he's also being charged with having a sexual relationship with a minor under the age of 14.
As has been alleged before, we've seen that young girl on the live stream with David when he's like, yo, delete everything, delete it all, mods, delete the server, yo, somebody come and break the computer. That was Celeste sitting next to him, and you can see by the way she's talking, by the way she's moving, and just by her actions and even her voice, she's a young child, bro. It breaks my heart even looking at that evidence.
Kids.
Dude, that's controversial.
It's controversial. Kids.
Really good.
Okay,
It's been a good one. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Mwah, 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 mwah. Oh my! Delete everything. Delete everything. Everything goes. Everything. Oh, yo! Wait.
Oh, look it. Answer that one. That's so mean if you don't answer.
Which one? What's good, David? Big fan. Oh, thank you, Mitochondria.
I gotta stop with him if you even.
We
need to delete this.
Maz, can we delete all VODs? And then as soon as the stream ends, delete the stream too?
Again, 100% confirmed until he is guilty. So everything that you see in this video and hear in this video, this is all my opinion. This is a legal matter. We gotta make sure we protect ourselves as well. But for sure, it was definitely dark seeing all the evidence that was coming out all those months. And then to know it took 7 months for him to officially be charged and arrested. It was 7 months ago when the news was going crazy about this car that was found in a junkyard, alleged to be tied to the singer David, and a young girl's body was found in the vehicle. And the body was so decomposed that they didn't even know who it was at first. And you guys remember they found out the shush tattoo and all those evidence that we were hearing in the beginning. Then when they went back to where she was from and showing the pictures of David giving out the bags of money, allegedly it was a brown bag. We don't know what's in it. But what else is he giving in that bag? Candy? An eighth? Like, what else? But again, we are not sure. It could have been anything. But it was just a very dark time to see that 7 months later, he is officially charged. It's like the internet detective in me is happy to finally see that the charges came out, seeing the mugshot, seeing him being arrested. But then the realistic side of me is like, can they even prove this? And seeing how David's team did not waive the rights for a speedy trial, and there's actually gonna be a preliminary trial, and he pled not guilty. We see footages of inside the courtroom as well.
Calling People versus David Anthony Burke. That's case number 26 CJC F02399.
On behalf of our client, David Burke, who's in custody.
Thank you, and good afternoon, Mr. Burke.
Deputy District Attorney Beth Silverman to the people, Your Honor.
Thank you. And counsel, on behalf of your client, do you waive formal reading of the complaint, advisement of rights, including armed forces and veterans' rights, enter a plea of not guilty, denying any and all special allegations, enhancements, and priors?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you're requesting a preliminary hearing within the period?
Yes, Your Honor. From the media reports, apparently there have been 4 months of secret grand jury proceedings. We believe that Mr. Burke is entitled at the earliest opportunity to an open preliminary hearing and the proceedings not be done in secret. So we are asking for a preliminary hearing to be set at the earliest possible date on the 10th day. Your Honor, we believe the actual evidence will show David Burke did not murder Celeste Rivas Hernandez, nor was he the cause of her death. And we would like to be able to have the evidence come into the light of day at the earliest opportunity in order to establish that. We're asking for April 23rd as a 3 of 10, Your Honor.
Anything from the people?
We'll be very happy to put on the evidence.
Either David chose the wrong career in singing, because I do think he had a good voice, I'm not gonna lie. I didn't know who he was 8 months ago. I found out who he was 7 months ago when all this broke. And I started looking up his music. I'm like, wow, the dude was actually talented. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna lie and be like, his music was terrible, I hated his voice. I didn't know it. But from what I was hearing, I was like, this dude has an angelic voice. I like the lo-fi beats. You guys know I like Party Next Door, The Weeknd. I can see him on that similar vibe. So to ruin your career and make the decisions you made as being a young star in Hollywood is just crazy to me.
We collected in this case in the last several months.
Thank you. So the matter will be set, plea of not guilty has been entered on behalf of Mr. Burke. The matter will be set in Department 105. The matter is ordered assigned to Judge Charlene Almeida in Department 105 for all purposes by the Judge of the Supervising Judge of Criminal.
Yes, Your Honor. If I may just put on the record, we have, as soon as the people arrived, delivered a informal discovery request consistent with Penal Code Section 1054. We have been given almost no discovery thus far. We've received a 3-page follow-up report, no autopsy report, and a copy of the complaint. And we would ask the people respectfully to produce discovery at the earliest opportunity.
Your Honor, as I've indicated to counsel, there's approximately 40 terabytes of discovery in this case. Moreover, in order to obtain the transcripts from a grand jury investigation, counsel has to file a motion. She knows the way the system works. I'm not able to gather those. They have to be provided after the court orders them released because it was an investigation. Second of all, if counsel plans on going to a preliminary hearing within the 10 days, it is unlikely that there will be very much discovery provided within that period, given the voluminous nature and how long it's going to take to copy onto drives. In addition to that, the coroner's report was sealed in this case in order to prevent it from hampering truthful testimony from witnesses that testified at the grand jury. In order to get the coroner's department, which is now the medical examiner's department, to release those materials.
Your Honor, it's surprising news given that the District Attorney's Office held a press conference this morning where they discussed the cause of death, apparently under seal and not released by the coroner's office, as did the robbery homicide unit to the press. So we would again reiterate, we believe that Mr. Burke is entitled to discovery. We have served the people with notice. They have 15 days to produce discovery in this case. We would ask that they do that in conscientious earnestness and as quickly as possible.
I'd ask the court to make an order today. We'll take a copy of the minute order ordering the Department of Medical Examiner to release their coroner's report in this case.
Thank you, Your Honor.
The court will order that the medical examiner release the report in this case forthwith.
Thank you.
The matter is set in Department 105, as the court indicated, April 23rd, 2026, as a 3 of 10 p.m. Anything further?
Even some of his celebrity friends that he was cool with at the time all turned their back on him from early on. Don Tolliver's wife, Kaliuchi, was like, oh, I was never friends with the guy. We had a feature together and I'm trying to do everything I can to get this taken down. Jason Ween, I know I always say his name incorrect, but the dude from FaZe, remember, they were cool. They were hanging out. Even at first, he was like, yo, I'm not 100% sure until the evidence comes out. We see an update from him like, yo, it's a win for us. They got him. And he does say something in the clip that I'm like, he has a point. We all looked at him like, nah, that's your man, Joe. That's your man's, right? You was defending him. He's like, yeah, I was defending him when there was no evidence or there was no allegations or we didn't know anything at all. I'm not gonna just turn my back on the day he gets arrested. Now that more evidence has came out throughout the months, yes, I'm turning my back on this guy. This guy's disgusting. I can agree with that. And I don't see anything wrong. At first, he was defending his man as much as he could have known, like, you get me? He didn't know that there was any evidence, or maybe he just didn't do the due diligence of jumping in and actually looking into the case before going out there and speaking online to all the people that listened to him. But he did take accountability and said, hey, after I saw all the information, all the evidence, yes, for sure, I'm turning my back on him. You can't be mad at him.
David has been charged by LA with first-degree murder with special circumstances, lying in wait in the killing of 14-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez, RIP, a charge that carries a potential sentence of life without parole or death penalty. Oh my God. That's insane. This is a win, bro. It only took 9 months. It's not my man's, bro. Alright, I don't want to see none of that shit. I already knew when I clicked this link, it's gonna be weird, bro. Okay, dude. How many times do I gotta say? Yes, before everything, all the evidence. And I don't know why people make it out to it just being me. Yes, I did defend him, and I regret doing that because obviously after all the evidence, I switched up on him. Yeah, I'm gonna switch up on a Oh, murderer! RP to Celeste, man.
Defended him. I defended him before any evidence came out. I shouldn't have done that. And I'll say this over and over again, bro. I fucked up. I'll never do that again, bro. Dennis told you not to? Dude. I was just like, the one time I don't fence it, bro. Not gonna go over it again.
Who you probably would be more mad about is the dude that they were calling his boyfriend before. Isn't it ironic that after he came in, stood in front of Neo and stood in front of the grand jury allegedly to try to see if the DA is gonna press charges or not, we see him walking in and out of the courtroom. Remember, he has that bag on and he's just speed walking.
Hey Neo, why are you being called to testify today? How did everything go in there? Why were you avoiding testifying? Do you think David is innocent? Is there anything you want to tell the public about the David case? Anything?
He goes home and goes on like a rant on, I believe it was Twitter, no, it was Instagram as well, and on his Instagram stories on David. And then magically, just shortly after he's arrested, was there any immunity given to Neo to speak? And that's why it was so fast. He just went up there like, bro, he did this, he did this, he did this. You guys got an immunity for me? All right, cool. It's not even gonna take long. To exactly everything I know in exactly the order I know it in. Is that what happened? Is that why he's not charged? Because people are saying that they know for sure it wasn't David that moved that vehicle, and the vehicle was moved quite a few times.
Death investigation. Neo, David's close friend, David, remember, is the prime suspect in her disappearance and death. Neo did not take the Fifth Amendment when he testified before the LA County grand jury last month. We have sources with direct knowledge who tell us that he testified freely and answered the questions of DA Beth Silverman. Now, this is odd for a variety of reasons. Remember, Neo testified for only 40 minutes. Beth Silverman is a pit bull when it comes to grilling witnesses. The manager of David was on the stand for 2 days when he testified. She grilled him like a cheeseburger. When he walked out back into the hallway, he was shaking his head. He didn't.
Or if you go to watch the early videos that we were doing of David when we were gathering information, there was people from that neighborhood saying that that car was moving throughout the neighborhood every day. Even one lady said her dog was pulling her towards the car because he was smelling like weird smells. Gruesome, very gruesome. But is that why we're not seeing David charged or his other friend, Alicia, if I'm saying her name correctly, or any of them? Or maybe just they weren't eyewitnesses. They weren't there. They only heard. But if there was an eyewitness, someone that moved that vehicle, wouldn't we have seen them arrested as well?
Again, it came out today, but I just want to make sure I'm accurate. Your theory of the case is that Burke allegedly lured Celeste out to this property, that she was going to report him to the police about their relationship, and that is why he killed her. And if I'm correct, how do you intend to prove that?
So the actual details of the evidence will be presented at the preliminary hearing and later at a trial. What we charge, though, and what the complaint charges is first-degree murder with 3 different special circumstances. The first one is lying in wait. And the allegation, as alleged in the complaint, is that Burke invited Celeste to his house the night of April 23rd, 2025, at which point he was lying in wait to murder her. The second special circumstance that was charged, and by the way, the reason you end up charging special circumstances in California is that if you have first-degree murder and you get convicted of it, it's 25 years to life.
Right.
But that allows the life sentence to be with the possibility of parole. If any one of the 3 special circumstances is found beyond a reasonable doubt by the jury, that then creates a life without the possibility of parole sentence, or if we so choose to seek it, the death penalty.
You mentioned cooperating and non. I will tell you, people will look at this and say, okay, if the allegations are true, how on earth could David, this singer, kill this girl, dismember her body, leave it in a Tesla all by himself? There are those who say there's no way that he could have done this by himself, yet he's the only one charged. Are we dealing with a circumstance where there might be others involved, but they're cooperating, and if they choose not to cooperate anymore, they may be charged? Because I was listening to the press conference today. I was wondering if there's a little bit of opening that other people might be involved here.
Well, we have an ongoing investigation in the sense that if any individuals have information about Mr. Burke or anything dealing with this particular crime, please at any time reach out to the LAPD's Robbery Homicide Division or the DA's office and bring us that information. With respect to any potential other individuals, as I said during the press conference, if and when we charge anybody else, and I'm not saying we will.
Remember, David went on tour in the beginning. Yes, the tour got canceled, but he was on tour when a lot of this stuff was going on in his neighborhood. So yes, David did plead not guilty. He is being held without bond, not shocking at all. We even see David's parents speaking as well, saying that they're not too shocked. They knew that this was coming. They're kind of disappointed in their son, but they're gonna have their sons back. A lot of people are mad at David's parents. This kind of comes back to the NBA Ben 10. A lot of parents are always gonna have their kids back. So I'm not saying every single parent, I'm not saying if it's incorrect, I'm not saying if it's right or wrong, but a lot of you guys on the internet, including myself, making decisions if this is right or this is wrong, don't have kids. My dog could do anything in the world, and that's the closest thing I ever had to a child. He could do anything in the world, and I'm gonna try to find a way on how he's the innocent one. I just can't see that he's an angel to me. So imagine having a child that's your DNA. It's like, nah, I'm part of the crazy. I'm part of what created this human that did this. They're gonna always try to see the innocence in their child's eyes until that day that he is proven guilty, and then from there, we'll see. We're not parents, so I can't tell a parent on how to behave. David's team is claiming though that he is innocent, as we saw that he pled not guilty, and they said that the evidence is gonna show that he is innocent. The guy should have played poker. That's all I keep thinking. The guy should have played poker. Yes, he's a great singer, but the guy might have picked the wrong career, because if this is a poker face, him and his team, he has a really good one. He has a really good one, because he got me convinced. Like, now I'm starting to think, why is he so confident? Like, yes, he looks a little bit crazy, but the fact that they're even going to the preliminary trial and they're not waiting to try to continue to review the evidence that they might have on him, it's like, how are they so sure? Like, I don't get it. And I told you guys that in the beginning. We need to hear David's defense. We finally kind of get a motive now from the prosecutors, and it looks like he might have took Celeste out to protect his career. We've heard Celeste arguing with the neighbors, as you guys recall. Yes, she was a young girl, but she had a mouth on her. From what we saw in that video, let's just say that. We don't know her personally, but what we've seen on the internet, all I can make my assumption is she could be a firecracker.
You ain't tripping. You gonna let a woman talk? Alright, I'm not gonna let your woman talk.
Ain't nobody black right here, homie. We're Southsiders right here, homie. We're Southsiders here. Get it right, homegirl. Shut up with your black talking. Shut up. You talking like you're black, girl, with your black talking. Yeah. Ain't nobody black right here. What are you talking about? You need to go home. Seriously.
I'm not Mexican. I'm Salvadorian. You tripping.
Oh my God.
And if you have a bad breakup with somebody, what we're hearing is that she was threatening him and his career on outing him. Imagine if she would have went to TMZ and I got proof that I dated David all these months, and he was probably tweaking in that crib. He was probably tweaking in that crib. And is the motive David might have invited her over? Do they have those messages or something? Can they pull up those call logs? Can they show the text messages of David like, all right, before you do that, just come and pick up some bread. I'm gonna pay you all, finally. You got me, don't worry, come over. And then the girl was never heard of again?
Today, I am announcing the charges against David Anthony Burke, the musician known as David, spelled D4VD, in connection with the brutal and horrific murder of Celeste, a 14-year-old at that time. And there are 3 sets of charges that have been brought. The first-degree murder with special circumstances, and again, those special circumstances are lying in wait. That Celeste went to Mr. Burke's home on the night of April 23rd, 2025, as alleged in the complaint, at his invitation, and again, was not heard from again. The second is a special circumstance being that this murder was committed for financial gain. As the evidence will show in court, the financial gain was for Mr. Burke to maintain his very lucrative musical career that Celeste was threatening on that particular night. The third charge, in addition to lying in wait and for financial gain, is murdering a witness to an investigation. In this particular case, as the evidence will come out in court, the witness to the investigation was Celeste. And the investigation was into the lewd and lascivious sexual acts committed by Mr. Burke that is the subject of count 2 of this complaint with Celeste while she was under 14 years old. The investigation was to determine who killed, who murdered Celeste months and months before. That investigation was carried out in unison and in partnership between the LAPD's Robbery Homicide Division and the district attorney's office. At every point in the investigation, through the arrest and the filing of charges, the LAPD and the district attorney's office have worked in lockstep. There's been no disagreements amongst these entities in deciding how to proceed with this case, ultimately leading to these charges today.
Because they're still not telling us exactly how, when she died. They keep reminding us that the body was really bad decomposed, and that's why it took so long, and that's why it's so hard to prove. But we're getting a little bit more information that she might have been murdered with a sharp object. Again, we haven't got the full actual exam to come out, but that is what we're hearing from different news sources. And what I'm taking from that is, did he stab her? How can they prove that? What was the fatal blow? How did he cut her up? That's another one that's in my mind. If it was he the one that did that? A young 21-year-old kid, yes, he's obsessed with gruesome and all that murder stuff. We've heard about that before, but for you to pull that off, he looked really frail as well, and picking up dead weight and doing all that is just crazy to me. It's like, to my mind, how did no one help him? Are they gonna prove that he did that? I just can't see how they're going to. And all this happened in a Tesla, which is still the craziest thing to me. You're gonna take the only car that records and do something like this is just wild. But what I keep thinking is, there's no footage from that Tesla. Like, why has no one asked? I would have asked that during the press conference, because we see that they had a press conference, and during the press conference, we get a bit more information of the evidence, of the information that they do have against him and how they're gonna come at him. Is this just theatrics though? Because we do see times where questions are asked and he's like, nah, I can't speak about that yet. You'll get a bit more of that information in a couple days, but I can't speak about that yet. You can't speak about that yet because you're not allowed to share that, or you can't speak about that yet because you just might not know yourself and you don't want to let the defense team know that. And what's the difference? Obviously, it's going to be a big difference if they can't prove you. Like, if he gets not guilty on murder, but gets guilty on the SA of a minor and gets guilty of mutilation of a body because he was scared or something. Remember, like, the early thoughts that I was having? A lot of people told me that early on, they don't believe that that's what happened. The girl was probably partying over there, turning up with them, and might have OD'd. He didn't know what to do or who to call, and they carried that out. What's the time difference? Because I'm hearing you'll get the death penalty if you're charged with all three of these, and the big one being murder to get life out there in California. But how about the other two? Tory Lanez just shooting a weapon got 10 years. Just shooting a weapon. He's never been fully charged, from my understanding, that he was never fully charged with shooting actually Meg Thee Stallion, a bullet, hitting her and all that. I believe he was charged with shooting a weapon and got all that time, which we see LA dudes shoot every single day. I don't know, I still don't get how that happened. But even if he got charged with shooting Meg, 10 years for that is like, how much would he really get for the other two? Would it be 20? Would it be 30? Because that's crazy. If they find him guilty on the other two but can't actually prove that he's guilty of murder, that's gonna change this a lot. And the more information that continues to release about this, I will update you guys.
Can you tell us what happened?
Right now, we're just investigating a possible bomb.
Does it have anything to do with anything going on today, like the Rivas case?
We just have to check the area, make sure everything is clear, and then we'll get you guys right back in.
Perfect.
Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Leaving this area sterile as of now. Because I know people want to come in and talk, so I'd rather address everybody and kind of go over that route. Right now, I have a dog running through the building to make sure everything is good to go. Once I get the okay, I will let y'all guys back in. It'll be like everything is done. If you are a juror or whatever the case is, from my understanding, I do believe the judges and everybody already knows what's going on. Everybody in the building knows. So you guys should be good to go. Don't quote me on that, but yes, ma'am, I do know that. I've been many a time in this building as well. So just stand by. I'll try to answer what questions I can answer. Okay? So, all right, is everybody good to go on that? Okay, give me just a couple minutes. There you go.
Hey guys,
Can I be on the other side, please?
Opposite side of the fence, right?
Yeah. Yep, thank you, sir.
But don't forget, it took 7 months for them to press charges on David, which we're happy to see. And David, if you're innocent, I'm happy you got your day in court now where you can prove to everyone and clear your name. But do they have enough evidence to just convince a jury and actually prove that he did this? I'm just not 100% convinced. Let me know your thoughts down below. We're on that road to 22,000 subscribers. Sub up, sub up, sub up.